Hello, hello. All right, let's get everything all hooked up. Let's see, we've got some inks that are still in view. Let's see, we'll get this more ready to go. Get my iPad all turned on. Ooh, y'all, I had a little bit of a Facebook Live emergency today because I didn't have my iPad charged. And that can be detrimental for doing a Facebook Live. So, hello, Lisa. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks so much for being here, friend. All right. Well, I hope everybody is having a great Wednesday night. I am thrilled that we are halfway through our work week. Oh my God, I'm ready for the weekend already. 2 days left and just 2 days left, and then I can sleep in just a little bit on Saturday. But hello, Lauren. I hope you're having a great night. And hello, Victoria. Ooh, from chilly Calgary. It's not super warm here in the Chicago suburbs either, but we gotta stay toasty. At least crafting helps us stay a little toasty. Dang it, every time I overcompensate in the wrong direction. I tell you guys, I don't get how I constantly can't remember. But that's okay. All right. Let's see, I'm just trying to make sure it's as centered as I can possibly get it, but it's never perfect, you know? All right, oh, so many fun friends tonight. Lisa's having a day. I'm sure it would be better now. Lisa, well, maybe this doesn't make you feel better. My day has been a struggle as well. So I apologize. At least it's coming to an end today. Hello, Belinda and Sean from a chilly Texas. Hello, Julia. Julia is, of course, behind our ThermOWeb page viewer. So thank you so much for being here. Hello, Kathy and Carletta. And hello, Rose. We're going to have a heat wave this weekend. Lucky you. And hello from Omaha, Nebraska, from Michelle. Hello, hello. I hope you're having a great night, everybody. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be crafting tonight. So I have a card that I am going to be creating, as you guys can see in front of me. And this card uses a lot of foil products. A little bit more than what may look at the eye, but almost everything that you see with this card, aside from the embellishments and our elephant image, is a ThermOWeb product. So the background, of course, ink's not, but we'll get to that point. But we're gonna go through step by step, and I'm gonna show you guys how you can stretch your toner products. And I'm going to maybe introduce or maybe refamiliarize you with our Gina K Foil Mates line. We've had this line for a little bit of time now, and sometimes it doesn't get a lot of love, but it's a really fun line, and it really makes your card making super easy because everything is just ready to go with it. So I'm gonna introduce a couple elements from some sets with that as well. But why don't we get into one of my favorite techniques to do with our toner card fronts, and that is to ink blend over them. So we'll get a little into that. And oh, Rose says a heat wave is in the 40s. Okay, so it's not that warm because you're just one state over from me, but hey, I'll take 40 degrees. It sounds wonderful. And hello, Dawn. Oh, two Dawns that say hello. We've got Dawn G and Dawn SL. Stricklandly, I don't know which last name you go by, but we'll just go with SL. So let's go ahead, let's get into a little bit of ink blending. So I'm gonna take my card and set it off to the side. I'll bring it back in a little bit later when we do a comparison from start to finish. So the first product I am going to be using is our Rainbows Galore toner card front. This is a really fun toner card front that just debuted. I think it was late spring or early summer, sometime in there. And there are two different card patterns. One just gives you like a standard rainbow with some scattered stars, and then the other one has some hearts and X's built into it. So it's filled with a little extra love than the other one, but they're both really fun. So let's go ahead, let me grab the one that I want to use, which is the one with the hearts. Of course, we got to use lots and lots of hearts. So, all right, so I've got my toner card front all ready to go. Yeah, Lauren, you can't complain about it being in the 60s. No, not at all. You can't do that. We're all sitting here chilly as heck. All right, you can complain. All right, so, okay, let's go ahead and get this all ready. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna use some Kitsch Flamingo. And I probably should switch and do it. No, we're gonna do it this way because I think that's actually gonna make more sense for me. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna grab my acrylic block. Where did you go? Just because I know I'm gonna need you in a little bit. And we're gonna pick up some Kitsch Flamingo, dab off the excess, and then just ink blend. Now I am using Distress ink. You guys know a lot of times I kind of lean towards the oxide products, and that is typically my blending ink of choice because it blends so beautifully. Sometimes when you use a dye ink, you get some of those harsher lines. And the one nice thing about our toner card front paper quality is that your dye inks actually blend really nicely on top of it. So that's what I like to use. So that's why I'm using my Distress inks for on top of my toner card front. Kitsch Flamingo is such a good one. I agree, Julia. It's one of my favorites. I was just thinking to myself the other day with the new Distress colors, because we've had 11 of the set of 12 release. And Kitsch Flamingo is definitely one of my top favorites from these 12. So all right, let's go in, let's do some Picked Raspberry next. Now for this card, the Picked Raspberry is kind of gonna get looked over a little bit just for the way that my layout's gonna be, and that's okay. We're still gonna put it down. It's gonna help give us a really nice transition between our darkest and lightest cards. So we're laying that down in the center. And now we're gonna go in with our Kitsch Flamingo blender and kind of blend these two into each other. And I like that because of this paper quality, you don't really have to push and pull colors for your dye ink ombres very much. So we're gonna go in like that. All right, so we've got that ready to go. And let's go into, yeah, we're good. And I've got my final color of Candied Apple, which is just a good quality red, probably my recommended red color of the Distress products. Ooh, and it's real juicy too. Lay that down. Just like that. All right, now let's go in with that Picked Raspberry and just kind of blend that together. Remember, I'm using my acrylic block as a pressure point just so I'm not getting any sort of fingerprint smudge marks. Yep, Sean, that's exactly what I'm doing. It's just a nice little tip to keep my fingers clean, but also a lot of times when I'm crafting, I accidentally will touch and get like a fingerprint on there and I'm like, oh great, I call it an unsightly smudge. All right, so we've got our background all ink blended. Love it, it's a really great pattern. We're gonna play with this a little bit, but I would love for this just to dry a little bit before we get into it. So let's get into some other types of foiling. So let's see, any comments that I've mixed on? Dawn loves the oxides, my apologies. Lauren, it's so smooth. I agree, paper quality is really, really good for your ink quality blending, particularly with those dye inks. And then Sean likes the tip about the block. I feel like a lot of people have commented about my block tip. We all have a stamp block somewhere, you know? They may not all be the exact same block. Some might be rectangle, square, circle, thinner, thicker, whatever. Anything is gonna work. As long as it's not like 5 inches tall and like you have to like put your hand all the way up here, you're good to go. And they don't make blocks like that, so don't worry about it. All right. Oh, Diane, you're so sweet. Thank you so very much. And Victoria says, love the oxides and blending. Good to know I can go over the toner. Yep, absolutely. And Kathy says your blending is so smooth. It's all just about the back and forth and blending those lines together. So thank you so much. It's a lot of practice, and I promise anyone else can do it too. These toner cards are card fronts are really good to practice on as well for getting those blends. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna set it off to the side just so it dries up a little bit. And let me go ahead and put my tools, oops, sorry about that. Putting my tools away, squirt a little bit of water, and then clean this up. I am gonna need this for a little bit of splattering. We always gotta do a little bit of splattering, you know? All right, so we'll clean that up. Put this off to the side. And now let's get into one of my absolute favorite of all time ThermOWeb products. And you are gonna think that it is me being like a little ridiculous because it's gonna come across so boring. And it's not boring. It is just our toner sheets, just our solid black toner sheets. And I love these so much because it opens up what you can use our foils with. this makes your crafting have so many possibilities. And what we're going to use it for today is basically just to create a foil sheet that we're going to use for multiple elements for our card. This is 5 1/4 square, and I'm actually going to use this 3 different ways. But this one square is going to get 3 different uses, so we're going to get a lot of fun elements for our card. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe it off. But what we're going to use this with is the Gina K Bubblegum Fancy Foil. This is a really great foil for any sort of love, heart theme project. Bubblegum is the perfect name for it. It's really got that nice, soft, light pink feel to it. I love this color very much. And I wanted to use this because there's so many different elements going on. I didn't want to use one that's got the sparkles in it because I thought it'd be a little too much. But if that's what you have on hand, go ahead. I say go for it. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna show you guys how I like to open my packaging. So you are gonna have that adhesive strip that keeps your packet closed. I'm gonna go ahead and just fold that over. And that may seem like a minuscule detail, but let me tell you, it can kind of ruin your day if you're pulling your packaging out or your product out of the packaging and your piece of foil gets stuck on that thin adhesive sheet, because then it's gonna wrinkle and then you're gonna get upset because you may feel the need to pull another sheet out. And I'm telling you, if you go ahead with it that way, you're not gonna have to worry about it. So, all right, so I've got my one sheet. Let's go ahead and close this back up. All right, put that back. And I'm gonna do a little bit of measuring. So I'm gonna flip this over like that, put my toner sheet on top of it. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab just an OLFA ruler that I have on my desk. I use this a lot with my cutting, and a small rotary trimmer by OLFA as well. So we're gonna go ahead, cutting this on my OLFA mat, and just trim it right like that. Really nice. These rotary trimmers work so well with our foil products. So I'm gonna take this little trimmer piece off to the side, and then I'm going to do one of my little bits of tips and tricks to make sure that our toner sheets are going smoothly. So let's go ahead and, oh, I've got a little bit of pixie tape on here. Then we gotta pull that off. Oh, Lauren says it's the worst. It really is. It can really kind of like put a damper on your crafty mojo if you've crinkled one of your pieces of foil. So try that tip of folding over so that adhesive strip is nice and covered. All right, so let's go ahead, get this all wiped. And then I'm just gonna take this and make sure I'm getting all the oils off of it very carefully without, you know, this is times when it would be very beneficial to have longer fingernails than I have, but that's okay. All right, so we're just gonna take this, flip it on top like that. And then we're gonna put it into our craft carrier sheet pouch. And what I like to do is, so I wiped it off with a microfiber cloth first, and then I'm gonna look at it. Now this is very hard to show you guys on camera. However, you do have on your solid color foils, the ones that don't have a lot of little sparkles and discs and designs in them, you can kind of see lines in the foil. And it's very important when you're using our toner sheets. It's just a little tip. This is what I've been told, and it works very well for me. You want those lines to go inside your laminator, that they're parallel to the opening of the laminator. And what I like to say is when you're placing it in, it's almost like if your laminator was eating one line at a time, as opposed to your laminator was eating every single line very, very slowly all at once. So we're gonna go ahead, let me grab my laminator. It's been preheating for, I would say a good 30 to 40 minutes. We're gonna process this through. And as it's processing through, I'm gonna take a water break. Oh, hello, Amanda. Thank you for being here tonight. And yes, Dawn, that is a dry microfiber cloth that I am using. And hello, Jilly. Good evening to you as well. Now, guys, do not forget, I do have a blog post for all of the products that we'll be using in today's live. I'm sure Julia will share it at some point, and you can use that. I've got all of the products we're going to be using tonight all linked up in there for all of your shopping needs, things that you might want to add to your wish lists for a later date, anything at all. So those are on there, both the ThermOWeb and non-ThermOWeb products that we are using tonight. All right. All right, so let's do a peel reveal. I can already tell this looks like a very good transfer, but I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. So let's go ahead. All right, oh, you can tell by the negative. That's pretty darn good. I've got like 3 little specks. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for sharing, Julia. I would like to, let's see. Fix this just a little bit. I think that might do it. Okay. I feel like I keep, well, that's about as good as it's gonna get. All right, I'll take that. All right, so I've got a really good transfer of this, and this is gonna be very helpful. You can see that nice bubblegum color coming through. Oh, you can see me in it a little. Oh, look, and there's my camera. All right, you get to see everything. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I don't even have to save this because there's nothing I can use this for. Unless I was gonna use those little itty bitty bits, this can go away. All right, so we're gonna keep this, we're gonna set this off to the side because I'm gonna keep going with this foiling. So what I wanna show you guys next is I wanna show you guys the Sweet Expressions Foil Mates by Gina K Designs for ThermOWeb. And this is a really great product because it has these really awesome sentiments that you're able to use and you're able to cut out, die cut out, and put them right on your project, and you don't have to worry about heat embossing. You don't have to worry about goofing up any sort of stamps. You just gotta foil them. And they're really, really fun. And we're gonna be using, it's the one that says, I'll always love you. I gotta be honest, I was immediately drawn to this one because I love that Whitney Houston, Dolly Parton song, whichever fan of which you think of first with it. I think Dolly did it first though. But love the song, so we're definitely gonna go with that tonight. Let's see. Okay, find the designs. All right, so it's these. And I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna do this because there's a couple steps that I want to do. So so like I said, this is the Sweet Expressions Foil Mates by Gina K Designs for ThermOWeb. You have 6 different sentiment options. Some are in circles, some are not. And you do have a total of 12 sheets with 6 designs per sheet. So that's like what? Doing quick math, 6 times 12, 72 options. So 72 different sentiments. So you could make 72 projects if you're just doing 1 sentiment per card or project, whatever you might be making. So let's go ahead, let's trim out this I'll always love you. And I'm gonna use my scissors. It is a lot of sentiments. You're gonna get a lot of use out of this set, so. And like I said, the Foil Mate line, it is not new. It's been around for a little bit of time now. And they're really fun. There's a product I like to call, any product that's like not a brand new release, I like to call like an oldie but goodie because there's so many things that have already been released that sometimes get passed up by new releases because so many of our favorite crafting companies come out with so many fun things on a really quick basis that sometimes we forget about the things that have already been released that we might really enjoy. And this is definitely one of them. So keep the foil mates in mind. And what we're gonna be doing next is I've got our red Deco foil. Now this would also be really good with the red velvet Deco foil by Gina K Designs or the, oh my gosh, is it called Sparkling Red? The one that's the red one, the Radiant Red Fancy Foil, which is like one of my favorite Deco foils ever. Oh, I got these little itty bitty bits. I'm gonna set those aside because I'm sure I'm gonna find a use for them later. All right, so let's go ahead. I love going through my older stuff because I find things that I really like. You know, or I forget that I had. That's the worst part. Is when it's like, oh, I bought this so long ago, and it's like, and darn it, I really like it. All right, so let's go ahead and trim this. And I know, Dawn, you said you just got the mat and a trimmer. I'm so excited for you to try it because these are really, really fantastic mats. I love, love, love using this. All right, so let's go ahead. Put that away for now. And let's see. I like to try to use as minimal amounts of foil as possible. And this ruler and trimmer really makes, ooh, well, at least I was being safe. But this ruler and trimmer really helps with that. So let's go ahead, set that off to the side. wipe this down just a little bit with my dry microfiber towel. Stash crafting is the best. All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna put this down and then let me figure out which way my lines are gonna go. All right, they're gonna go in that way. So if I do it, let's see, I'm gonna do it like that. Make sure everything is nice and covered. Now let's grab our laminator again. All right, I'll process it through. Oh, Stephanie, I'm so glad you're here. And Lauren loves the Radiant Red. It is probably like, if I really need to do like a list of my favorite Deco foils, because the Radiant Red I know is for sure in my top 10. It could possibly be in my top 5 because I love it so much. The other one that I'm thinking about that I'm not even using today that I love as well that would be in that top 10 is the bronze color. Not even related to today's project, but I have gone back to that bronze color so many times because I love it. And plus, one of my favorite seasons to craft for is fall, and it's absolute perfection. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh, it already looks like a good transfer to me, but we're gonna do our peel reveal and see how it goes. Make a list with an add all to cart enabled by Justin. I love it. I love it, Lauren. All right. Look at that. And you know what? This, if I wanted to, I could absolutely use for it. Oh, I could use this as a shaker window. Oh, I like that idea. But here, this is what I created. Look at this. While I sit here and marvel at my negative that I'm not using today, here's what we'll actually be using. As you can see, this I Will Always Love You. Oh, that reflectiveness, just beautiful, 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 beautiful. Should you always put a piece of cardstock in the parchment? Eva, I do. It works for me. It works for my laminator that I use, especially when I am foiling with my toner card fronts or any sort of toner product. It gives me a nice bit of stability. Now, you don't want to overdo it and put a couple sheets in. I just do one piece of, this is, I think, Gina K cardstock. One of her green colors. It doesn't come to mind exactly what it is, but it's worked really well for me. You can tell it's very well loved. You'll get a lot of use out of it. All right, so next, what are we gonna foil next? I know that, oh, let's go on to my next foil mate product that I'll be using. So the next one that I'm going to be using is the Love and Kisses Foil Mates by Gina K Designs. And honestly, these kind of take the place more of a toner card front in my opinion, but I'm just using the XOXO sentiments. So I did want to show you guys, so we're gonna go ahead. What's really nice about these though, is let's talk about the size. They come in 5.5 by 8.5 sheets. You do get 10 of them. So that's like 20 A2 sized card fronts that you'll be able to get because each sheet will be able to be cut in half if that's what you want to do with it. Now for me, for example, because I'm gonna be using a little bit of a remnant of what I used when I made my initial card, I have my XOXO all ready to go, and I just want to do a line of 3 of the XOXOs. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. So let me go ahead and do that. Let's see, and I want to just trim a little bit off, not too much. All right, just like that. So we're going to make sure we can get 3 of it off. I'm going to use my trimmer to line everything up. All right, let's see. I think that's about where I want it. All right. So we do have this really fun XOXO sentiment strip that we're definitely going to be using. And this I can save for another project. So I'll go ahead and put this away. Put it back in. I'm sure I'll get more use out of it at a later date. And now I am going to go back to some of my red Deco foil. And I do have this strip that fits perfectly. So I don't even need to go ahead and recut anything. Now I did drop my microfiber towel, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that. So you might hear my chair shuffle around. But let's go ahead and wipe this off. And wipe off our sentiment, or not sentiment, but our XOXO portion for the strip. Place it in there. Let's see, where are the lines? All right, it's gonna have to go in long ways. That's okay. So place it just like this. Now, thank you guys so much for bearing with me with all of this foiling. I just thought it would be easy if we did all of our foiled elements at once. All right, laminator back over here. And let's process this through. And now after I'm done with this, I am gonna show you guys, I did use the other I Love You pattern from this Loving Kisses Foil Mates pattern. So you guys can see what it looks like all foiled up. It's really pretty. So I'm excited to share it with you. Roxana, I will try this. Thank you. Absolutely. But I need to know how you'll make it a shaker window. Oh, see, I don't think that would be too hard to do. I would probably do it, Lauren, inside of like a square maybe, because I've already got the red. And I would probably frame it in a square, put that, see if I can adhere the square frame directly on top of it, and then use on the back of it some foam tape just to kind of lift it up. I would want to make sure though that there's enough thickness that it wouldn't be problematic. But I think I could do it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna set it aside, and oh, you know, in all the free time I have, I'll figure something out. That was sarcasm. All right, let's go ahead. Let's see how our XO pattern turned out. All right, do our peel reveal. Ooh, all right, y'all. Ooh, this is a really good transfer. So we've got our XOXO all ready to go. You know what though, Lauren? You don't even need it on top of acetate. You could use this as your acetate because it's see-through. So there's already that kind of acetate-like layer. I don't even know if you need it. I don't know. I'd have to play around with it and see, but you might not need acetate at all because this could be it. Isn't this really pretty? I want to show you guys though, because I was kind of playing around with a couple ideas for today's live, and I was playing around with these XOXOs and these I Love Yous. And this, I kind of rushed myself through and I didn't let my laminator heat up warm enough. But I did try this XOXO pattern, and if you guys can see it, I alternated between the satin magenta, the rose gold, and the red Deco foils, and I did one line at a time. And I think this is really fascinating. I love the way this turned out. I'm going to save this for something else. I just don't know what quite yet, but I think this is really pretty. I just didn't get that perfect transfer because I had like 15 pieces of foil going through. So this is really fun. Carletta, if you make a shaker card, will you post a picture of it? Carletta, I promise you, anytime I use anything with a ThermOWeb foil, glitz gel, flock, anything, I will post a picture, absolutely. So yeah, isn't this really fun? I liked it. And then I was like, you know what, let's just try it just with the XOXO with the satin magenta, and it gives it a really nice finish. It's not as shiny because it's that satin, but you still get that lightness from it. So I thought these were really fun. And then I promised I would show you guys, I did use that other pattern as well in the Foil Mates, which is that I Love You background. And this is gonna get used for another card as well. I don't know what yet, but look how that red is captured. I love it. This is super pretty. I guarantee you, whoever you send this to in a card or use it for a scrapbook layout, just perfection. So this is another one that's included in that Love and Kisses Foil Mates, and I know you could find some really fun uses for this as well. All right, so I've got my little examples. Go ahead and put those away, save those for a later date. Just thought it would be a little fun to show you guys. See, I do plan these out to make sure whatever I'm doing is like, it's gonna work well, what colors I like, and sometimes it's just fun to play around with your different products, especially when it's ThermOWeb products. Those are the best. So let's go ahead and let's get our rainbows ready from our Rainbows Galore. So I do need to grab my Iridescent foil. So I've got that, Iridescent Deco foil. This is really one of my favorites too. I know I say that a lot, but I mean it. All I've got this little piece. That's gonna do nothing for me. All right, so let's go ahead. Just need one sheet. It's being a little finicky. I know I'm spending all of this time doing all of this foiling, but this card's gonna come together really quick once all of our foiling is done, because then all I really have to do is cut and glue things. No ink blending, oh, a little bit of splattering. I forgot about the splattering. All right, there we go. And grab our ruler. And if you guys have any questions along the way, and I know I keep defaulting and saying you guys, I'm very well aware. I know that most of us are not male in this group, and that's a-okay, so I can change it to saying y'all. But if y'all have any questions, just let me know. I can always stop when I get to a breaking point, go over those questions. I always want these to be fun learning experiences that we can all just kind of relax and feel comfortable asking whatever foiling questions we may have. So, all right, let's go ahead, wipe this down with my dry microfiber towel. Wipe this down here as well. Now I'm doing this one last because I wanted to make sure that my toner card front was nice and dry, just because if it's not dry, it could cause some interruptions in that foil because we're using a toner card front. And I can see the lines. So let me make sure I can see the lines. Yep, lines are going this way. So we're gonna layer this like that. This iridescent foil is just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. All right, so let's go ahead, process this through. Take another water break. Y'all's perfect. Oh, I love it, Sean. I'm from the Midwest. I have like no Southern roots at all, but y'all has a special place in my heart. Lauren, when you say your favorite color, you're talking about iridescent, because that's really like the greatest color. You are right, because the iridescent has like every color and like no color at the same time. I love it. What lines are you talking about? So it's really hard to show you during a Facebook Live. It's better if it was in a YouTube video, or of course the best is when I'm crafting in person. But what I'm talking about is on the back of your foil. Let me grab this piece of the iridescent. So this is the front, this is the shiny pretty card. But if you flip it over onto the dull side, and if you look really closely, and it's really hard to see, you guys aren't going to be able to see it that much, but there are lines that run from one side of the foil to the next. So when you are feeding a toner card front through your laminator, it is beneficial if the lines on the back of your foil are going through your laminator, that they are parallel to the opening. And like I said before, as stupid as it may sound, you would almost want to visualize that your laminator is eating one line at a time, so one line on the back of your foil at a time, as opposed to if it was going through the other way, it would be all the lines going through at once. So that's how I like to visualize it. I know that's a little hard to display during a Facebook Live, but I think if you take some time with your Deco foil and look on the back of it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But just remember, it's gonna be easiest to find those lines on your solid color Deco foils. So any of our foils, like our shattered glass, our radiant red from our fancy foils, I know we have a lot of our Brutus Monroe files have some really amazing designs in them. Those can be a little trickier to find those lines in, so start with a solid color. I hope that helps. Justin, you could have ink blended your sentiment too, right? Oh, absolutely. I could have gone over this and I could have ink blended this background, because this paper is still that great toner card front quality. So if I wanted with this I'll Always Love You, and if I didn't want it white, I could absolutely make it pink. I could make it black if I wanted to, which would be a really striking way to do it. There are a lot of fun ways that you could use this, but yes, you could definitely ink blend over it. So let's do our peel reveal. All right. All right. We got our iridescent rainbows all ready to go. All right, you guys, y'all, everybody, I'm gonna set this off to the side, and this is gonna be our background. So now we just gotta get into a little bit of die cutting and trimming. That shine is wonderful, isn't it, Lauren? Oh, I love it too. All right, you would insert the same, wait, would that be the same for me? You would insert the same no matter what the brand of the laminator. Yes, exactly what Julia says, regardless of what sort of heating element you're using to process your foils, like a laminator or a mink or something other, it should all work the same. All right, let's see, am I missing any comments? I almost just tipped this over. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good. So let's get into a little bit of die cutting. Now, what I thought would be really fun is, you know what, before we do, yeah, we're gonna do die cutting first. We're gonna do die cutting first, and I have a circle die. This is an infinity nesting circle from Hero Arts, and I picked a size that was going to be closest to give me a little bit of a white border, but still kind of keep that circle shape kind of tight. So I'm gonna lean in a little bit. I apologize in advance if you can see any of my hair. At least I put product in it today. Let's move this a little closer. Just wanna make sure I'm getting this as good as I can. And then I'm going to place some pixie tape on this, but I'm going to do my darndest to keep that pixie tape off my foil so it doesn't pull it up when I put it through the die cutting machine. So I'm gonna place that down. And let's see, move that off to the side. Let's get my platinum die cutting machine, which I'm only using. I usually use my electronic die cutter, but I'm not at my desk right now, and that's a-okay. So let's get our sandwich ready to go. Like that. There we go. Let's go ahead, pop this out, and see, and that's why you don't, oh, wait, we're good, okay. I was like, wait a minute, it pulled up my foil. It didn't, but see, it die cut a really nice circle around my sentiment, so it's gonna make it really easy to pop this on my card. But I'm not gonna stop there. We've got a little bit more die cutting to do. And what I wanna go ahead and do next is I wanna go back to that bubblegum pink piece from my toner sheet that we used, and I wanna trim this up a little bit. So I am actually, for this, let me make sure, the size of this, it's gonna be about 1/4 of an inch smaller than A2 sized. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim it to that. So I'm gonna do 1/4 of an inch smaller, make sure everything is nice and straight. Let's see, good. Like that, and then perfect. I'm not gonna need this little bit, but I can save this for another part. Now what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna use this, and I'm gonna go up one size. So I know I used, this is the die cut that I used for my sentiment for the I'll Always Love You, but I'm gonna use the next size up, and I'm going to die cut directly from the center of this. You'll see why in a second. So we're gonna die cut a circle because I am trying to be a little minimal in the product that I'm using today. I don't wanna have to waste a bunch of foil. So let's go ahead, get this back and ready to go. All right. Just like that. Machine back over here, and I can pop this out, and now I've got a bubblegum pink circle that's just slightly larger than what I just used for my sentiment because I want them to layer like this. I thought it would be really cute if I had multiple colors going on here, so I've got my die cut sentiment out, and then I also have the bubblegum pink circle framing it. So, but we're gonna use this other piece as well, so I've just gotta do a little bit of cleanup. Let's see. Go ahead and pull my pixie tape off very carefully. Just like that. All right. And before I get into any sort of gluing, I want to trim this down just a little bit because I'm going to trim this about, let's see, I know what size it's going to be, but I have to get there first. So the long side, I'm going to trim a little off this side, move it to this side. It's going to be about 5 1/8, just about 5 1/8. And then I feel like the red goes up the most. So I'm going to cut from this side. This is going to be about 3 7/8. Just like that. I promise I have reasons for all of this. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is this bubblegum pink piece is going to frame this really nicely. So let's go ahead and grab some UltraBond liquid adhesive and just do a little bit. You know what? I just realized before I do that, I've got to do some splattering. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So let's go ahead, we'll wipe that off, and that's A-okay. Let's get into some splattering first. I'll get my mat back out. And I'm gonna get my XOXO sentiment strip. I'm so sorry about that. I totally forgot I was doing some watercolor splatters. So let's go ahead, I've got that. Got my metallic watercolor accents. And I'll put that right here. And let's do this pink color. Oh my goodness. Y'all ever craft and you're like, wait a minute, I skipped a step. That was me today. And oh my gosh, Gail, you are totally fine. And yes, there will be a replay. This will get uploaded to Facebook very soon. So don't worry. And then it's always here in the fan club as well. So, all right, so let's go ahead and mix this up just a little bit. I always like to tap off a little first. And then we're gonna go in with this pink metallic watercolor and just splatter. I'm gonna kind of be a little generous with my splatter because I wanna get a lot on here. Perfect. Now I'm going to clean this off real quickly. Put my watercolor away. Put this back in the center. And then let's see, am I missing any? Nope, we're good. All right, I'm going to also, just so I can kind of speed this up, I am going to use my heat tool just to kind of set it. I apologize in advance for the noise. I'm going to talk a little bit louder. I'm just doing this so that my spots are nice and dry and I can handle it sooner than later. Dawn, I will support that decision to buy more foil and I will gladly take the blame. We're getting there. And what's really nice about using a glass mat with this is that it's heat resistant. So I don't have to worry about any sort of warping. I think that one's good. I think this one's basically, all right, we're good. So we can be good with that. I'm gonna go ahead, put that back off to the side now that our inks or our watercolor splattering is completed. And now I can actually move forward with gluing these items down. All right, so let's go ahead, back to the UltraBond adhesive on the back, just a little bit. All right, just like that. Go ahead, get that bubblegum frame going. Really nice, just like that. All right. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so I can set that off to the side. And we're also going to get a bubblegum frame here. This one's a little easier. All right, I've got that ready to go. And then I also have that extra strip of bubblegum pink of the toner sheet that I did. And I want this to frame my XOXO. And honestly, that's about how I want it. So I'm just gonna run with this. So let's go ahead, let's go ahead and just use some more liquid adhesive. It might be a little thicker than what I did initially, but truthfully, I didn't take any measurements. So I'm gonna go ahead, just like that. Now another nice bubblegum frame. Really is a perfect fit. Sean, do you need a special adhesive to keep foil from coming off the toner card? That's a good question. I haven't really had any issues with using toner. So I wouldn't, or with a toner card front, so I don't really think you need a special adhesive for it. I use the UltraBond, but what you could always do, Sean, is if you wanted to, I also often reach for my Tape Runner XL. This is always kind of like if I need a little extra assurance for a good adhesive, because it's not dry, it's a dry adhesive. And sometimes that works a little better for me, but as long as you're not using excessive amounts of liquid adhesive, your UltraBond really should work okay. All right, so let's go ahead, let's put this down. So I hope that answers your question. Do this right in the middle. I think I'm going to kind of push this so it's, nope, we're just gonna, let's see, if I have it like this. All right, I think that works really nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead, is that where I want it? Let's see if this is how I need it. So if I go ahead and just kind of move this up, it could be a very slightly down on this end. And that's why I like using liquid adhesives, is because it gives me a little bit of playroom. All right, and I think that's about good. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my scissors. Sorry about the thud. I'm gonna trim these edges off. All right, so I've got this, and we're very close to the end of this card, y'all. So I do have my white card base. This is A2 sized, and I am going to use my Tape Runner XL on the back of this one. And of course I misplaced it, but now here it is. Usually on my solid toner sheets, I do like to use the drier adhesives. All right, and then make sure I'm opening up my card at the right angle. Perfect. And then I should be able to just kind of line this up. You know what, we're gonna pull it up a little bit. I always have to finagle this just a little bit. All right. All right, there we go. Press that nice and down. We're gonna use some foam tape on the back of this. This is the iCraft UltraBond 3D adhesive. This is 1/16 inch, and this is in the white color. I use this on literally almost every single card I make. All right, let's line this up. Like that. You'll probably glue that one little bit down just a wee bit. Oh, thank you, Dawn. I think this is a really fun layout, and it's a really fun way to use these foil mate products. I'm also pulling in these cute little elephants. This is from the pretty pink Posh set. I believe it's called Elephant Pals. I just think they add a really fun little pop. And what I really like about using these elephants is a lot of times we make love cards for like our significant others, but this is clearly like a big elephant and a little elephant. So how cute would this be for either a parent to give to their child for Valentine's Day or vice versa as well? And like, you could give these to a mom, to a dad. I mean, you can't really tell if they're a boy or a girl elephant, so whatever works for you. Or if you have someone else in your life that was a parent figure, that works as well. Let's go ahead, we'll put these right here. I love the foiling without being overdone. Oh, Sean, thank you. It really is a fun way to use your foiling. It's a lot of fun elements. All right, so let's go. I'm gonna bring my other card back in. That's pretty close. I'm pleased. All right, but we gotta do our embellishments and then we'll be all done. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour some iridescent bubbles from Studio Katia. And let's see. And I have a big one. And then I have like the medium-sized one, wherever that may be. Well, now it's easier to find them at least. All right. See, even I have little crafty mishaps. It happens, y'all. All right, so we're gonna do like one like that. We're gonna do a big one down here. We're gonna do, let's see, I think this is a medium. The medium and smalls are very similar in size to me, so they're kind of hard to differentiate, but I try my best. I try my best. That's okay. I think this is a medium. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get these all adhered down. Let me clean up my mess. Oh, you get to see me pick up all these little beads. At least they stick to my finger nicely. Julie, I agree. I think the elephants are absolutely adorable. I've got them linked on the blog post for tonight's live. So if anyone is interested in these cuties, be sure to head on over to my blog post and check that out. There are a lot of fun elephants that come in this set. It is a 4x6. I am using just one image. I want to say there are like 4 or 5 different images that you can use, along with some sentiments. Pretty Pink Posh has some of the most adorable stamps out there, just some really fun critters, so be sure to check it out. They also have some really fun layering stencils. All right. All right, last embellishment. There we go. All right, y'all, and you can see all that nice foil shine. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. And I know I'm a little off center with that, so let's bring them back into view a little bit and let's talk about a little bit more what we made tonight. So, as you can see, we did recreate our little elephant card using a lot of fun toner products from, of course, Deco Foil and our Gina K designer line as well. We used one of my favorite toner card fronts, which is the Rainbows Galore in the background, which we went ahead, we ink blended over it, and then used the Iridescent Deco Foil with it, and we got a really fun, nice shimmer with it. Then for all of our little framing, I took just a standard toner sheet, cut it down to 5.5 inches square, and foiled it with some Bubblegum Pink Fancy Foil by Gina K Designs. We ended up using that Bubblegum Pink to frame our circle, to frame our card panel, and to frame our sentiment strip as well. So that Bubblegum Pink really calls throughout the whole card. We went ahead and we used some of the foil mates. We used the Love and Kisses for that XOXO background. And then we also used the Sweet Expressions for the I'll Always Love You sentiment, which for this we did, for both of them actually, we used the red Deco foil. Of course, all of our adhesives were a combination of UltraBond, Tape Runner XL, and the iCraft 3D foam tape in 1/16 inch in white. And there you have it. All the cuties, all little elephants are good to go, just perfect for a Valentine's Day card or really any time of the year. So, all right, thank you so much for sharing the link, Julia. So let's see. Oh, Candy, thank you so much. And Rose says, darling. Oh, Rose, you're so sweet. Thank you. Dawn, thank you so much. And thank you, Sean. Kathy, Kathy, you're so sweet. I appreciate the compliments. I try to spread a little bit of inspiration for you guys, and I hope if anything, if you took away from today, would be different ways that you can mix and match your toner sheets, or different ways that you can use the Foil Mates line, because that really is a fun line that I think you guys would have a lot of fun with. I just was a little redundant, but you know what I mean. It's an enjoyable product to use and really makes some of the different elements of your card a lot more tangible to have that perfect edge to. So, oh my goodness, thank you guys all so much. I don't know when my next live is scheduled. I believe I have another one scheduled this month, but only one other one. It's either this week or next week. I probably should have looked at that in advance, but rest assured, you know I'll be back. I'm always back. But thank you guys all so very much for being here. Again, I'm Justin Adkins. I'm part of the ThermOWeb paper education team. Also, I am a group administrator here in the ThermOWeb Craft Room Facebook group. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said, I know I'll be back and I'll have another Facebook Live tutorial. I also know that Julia from our fabric team just had her very first Facebook Live last week. And I believe you can expect some more for our fabric folk as well. So we've got both inspiration coming for Facebook Lives on our paper end and the fabric end as well. And I can promise you that we're always excited to share inspiration your way. Thank you guys. Oh, and then back on the 8th. Oh my goodness, y'all get to see me next week. All right. We'll have a really fun project prepared, I promise. So you guys will see me again next week for a super fun Facebook Live. If you ever have any questions that go beyond our Facebook Live time, or if I miss something, you can always post a comment in the group where you can just tag me and say, @Justin, hey, are you like da-da-da-da, like what kind of adhesive do you recommend me to use for foam tape? Or what was it again that you used? Or I can't find your blog post. Always ask. I will get to it as soon as I can. I'm always happy to help. And I know all of the people at ThermOWeb on both of our education teams are always happy to help you out as well with your questions. So thank you all so very much for being here today. I'll look forward to seeing you next week on the 8th, a week from today, 7 p.m. Central Time. And have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Stay crafty, everyone. Goodbye.